Okay, in this video we're going to talk about bases. Now I know right off the bat that you guys and girls don't have the tools, or may not have the tools that I have in my shop. I've got a table saw, I've got a radio alarm saw back there, jigsaws, band saws, I got a planer to make the wood smooth. I got all sorts of stuff in here, routers to make the base edges look really nice. I realize that, probably 75% of the wood carvers don't have these themselves. They may have access to someone who has one, but all I can tell you is just do the best you can do after you've spent so much time on your carving to make it look the best that it can look. That's the way I look at it. I'm not going to carve a figure by itself and set it on the shelf. It becomes a knick-knack. If I do a figure and mount it to a really nice base, it creates a great presentation and it turns it into. I just think this is important. This is almost as important as this to me. And if you go through an art gallery and look at a lot of the sculptures, bronzes and things, and just note how they do it. They take the time to present their piece the best way they can. So anyway, that's what we're going to do with this piece here. Now, making a base. One of the things you want to realize when you make your base is you want to use the best materials you can. Now, I use oak, I use walnut, I use cherry, and that's about all I use for my bases. Why? Because those woods are hardwoods, what they call hardwoods, and they take stain real well, to where a piece of pine, basswood, poplar, those things just won't stain good unless you treat them, and even then they don't have the punch that walnut, oak, or cherry has. So if you're going to spend the time on making your carving and you want to give it the best presentation you can, you want to use a piece of wood that's equal to it. And that's what I try to do. Now when we mount this carving, I'm going to mount it on a piece of walnut. And here's a piece of the walnut that I'm going to use. Now I buy this at a mill down the road from where we live, quite a ways down the road from where we live. So it's not so expensive. But if you go to Woodcraft Supply and you look for a piece of walnut, you're going to pay some money for it. So, but if you scout around, there might be a wood mill close by that specializes in hardwoods or has hardwoods for sale. You can go there and buy a board. This is I think this is, let's see how big it is. Well, here's my little wheel. Oops. This is 1.5 inches. Good size for what we're going to use here. And that's what I used. And actually, I think I used a little thicker one for this piece here. This is just a standard 1 inch or 3/4 inch piece of oak. Makes a nice base. Walnut I really like because it's dark. It takes stain really good. And it just looks classy. Okay? So this is a piece off of a board. It's got a bad edge on it here, but I'm going to cut that off. And watch out. We're going to mount this similar to the way we're going to mount this board here. So this is going to be mounted on here like that. So first thing I'm going to have to do is, cut this down to size. So I'm going to have to take it off about right there. Just cut that off right there. The first thing I'm going to do, see I have this rough edge here, see the saw marks on it from where it was cut? I got to get rid of those. But first thing I'm going to have to do is get rid of this. So I'm going to take that over to the saw and get rid of that. And I'll be back here in a second. Okay, I've got my little piece here, just the size I wanted. I took it and I ran it over the planer over there to make sure I got rid of all the saw marks on the sides, on the top. Now I've got me a board here. This is a board I bought down at the local mill, along same as I bought this. This is about 3/4 of an inch thick. So what I'm going to do is one thing I forgot to tell you about a base. It adds some weight to the bottom of your carving, so someone's not going to knock it over. So I figure about 1 inch border all around this thing. Naturally, I don't have a pencil. We'll take 1 inch right there. Don't worry about that knot hole. That's going to be on our waste material. You can tell automatically that I'm no Norm Abramson. I'm gonna get noisy here. Okay, there might be a little smoke here because I'm cutting with the grain with a crosscut saw. So there I have the base, basically, okay? Now, I'm going to take this piece over to my router and put a decorative edge on it, okay? Take this other piece too. Now I'm going to pick the best surface of this piece. This has a little roughness to it right here. I could sand that off, but I'll put that on the bottom. This side is nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to route me an edge. This will be the front edge, and it'll give me a decorative edge. By decorative edge, I mean it's going to be where the nameplate goes. Okay? So I'll make me a mark on each side of where to begin and where to stop. And like I say, it's going to get noisy. Now we have a decorative edge on this piece. So now it's just a matter of attaching one piece to the other, which I'll just do that with a couple of screws on the bottom of here. And I don't think you need to see that. It's pretty basic and elementary, elementary, Sherlock. Okay, so back to the one. Are you recording? Okay. All right, I have my base here. I've screwed it together, a couple of screws. It's all ready to go. It hadn't been sanded or anything, so it's going to look better once I get it all fixed. So what I'm going to do now is position my piece. Now, again, the reason I'm doing this is because I might have to make modifications to the carving on how it's going to mount to the base. That's why I say don't jump ahead and do details and everything until you have brought along the whole thing. By that I mean the base, so they match the way they're supposed to match. So what I'm going to do now is position this thing on the base here to, and line it up with the center line. So I'm going to do that here. Now notice here, if I line this thing up with the base itself, up and down with this piece here to the base, look what happens. It's fallen over that way. Well, I don't want that. So I'm going to bring it back, line it up, put it with the center, just like that. See, it's centered. Here's the center of the base. Bring it straight up. It goes right through his head. The reason I like to mount it that way, I love seeing space between things. He's sort of just floating there. Looks great. I love that look. So that's where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to turn it around here. Line it up. Hopefully you can see me do this. I'm going to get it just right. And I'm going to make a mark. Too much stuff on my thing here. Right there. With my little ruler. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this line on over here and I'm going to shave down this piece. Just disregard that line. And do basically what I did here. See how I've cut it in there? So that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm not going to bore you with me doing this. I'm just going to let Judy turn off the camera and we'll come back once I get this straightened up. Okay, I've got my cuts made down here. So what this will do, if you look on this piece here, hopefully you can see the pencil lines I've drawn along here. You can see the outline of the piece, how it comes across here. Hope you can. I'll move it around here.
There. Okay.
There?
Keep going there.
Anyway, I've indicated 3 holes here. Down here, up here is 2. And that's where I'm going to drill my holes. This is a 3/16 inch dowel. I'm going to have 3 of them there. I know that looks like a pretty small dowel to such an awful big piece, but believe me, once it's glued in place here, it's going to hold this carving. That's what's holding this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this apart. This is one of these tricky parts, mounting a carving, especially like this, is kind of tricky. I know. But it's a challenge, so you should look forward to challenges in wood carving. They'll make you a better wood carver. So I'm going to take this over and I'm going to drill my 3 holes for the dowel, okay? Yep, come on. Show me over here. The reason I punched my holes is I want that drill to go where I want it to go. So having these 3 little holes here will help the point of that drill find its way. Okay? I'm going to turn the light on here. Alrighty, I'm going to take my drill out because I'm going to use it on the other piece here in a minute. Turn the light off. Go back over to the bench. Looking for something over here. Where are you? Where are you? You gotta be over here somewhere. Come on, show yourself. You're just hiding back in here. Okay, this is talcum powder. So what we're going to do, does it help if I open it up? Now the idea here is to have enough talcum powder loose in the bottom of those holes, to where when I tap it after I line up my piece here again, like that, got my lines there. So right there's where it's supposed to go. So I'm going to turn it over, hold it real tight to where nothing. Well, what happened here? That didn't work.
Too much.
Got enough in there, didn't I? Oh, I can see them. There they are. There they are. See, there's one right there. There's another one. And the other one's right down here, but I'm not really sure, so I'm not going to drill that one. Not going to drill it. Now I can't drill it too deep because I don't have that much material there. So, like I said, I want that drill to go exactly where I want it. So I'm going to find the center and punch a little hole. And very, very carefully. Where's my dowel here? That one's a little off, so I'm gonna. Now I'm gonna. Just wiggle those things around a little. Let me just see. So I'm going to cut me a couple of these. I'll probably have to cut these off. I'm sure. So let's just set her on here. See how we're doing. Whoa, hit it right on the button. Hit it right on the button. So I'm going to take those two off. This will take a while. I think what I'll do is drill these holes just a little deeper. Maybe I won't have to cut them. Maybe I will. Let's just see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut you.
Sure.
Well, you'll see here in a minute. Any tools laying around here to get dull. Where's that one I cut? There. There we go. All I have to do now is put a little more talcum powder in that other hole. I've got the other two perfectly matched up now, so I'm going to hit that other hole just right. So, glad that's over with. I always worry about that. It takes a while, but it's nice when it's over and everything worked out the way you were hoping it. You know, I'm saying the way you planned it, but I'm saying the way I hoped it would. So anyway, we've got the base now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a mark right here. And right there. Take it off here. And I'm going to take it over to my router and see the little edge I put on here. It's the same router bit that makes this, except it only does this part right here by lowering that bit down some. Cuts this area, this thing right here. This part of the bit cuts that, and that's exactly what I did up here. You can see where I did it to where it matched where that carving sits there. Just another little step that makes you took a little extra step to make your base that much more professional. Let's say that word, okay? Because that's what we are. We're professionals. We're not whittlers. We're professionals. Professional wood carvers. Okay. So that's going to look pretty slick, I think. It's just looking slicker and slicker now. The hard part's over. Well, I'm not going to say the hard part. One of the hard parts is over. We got our base done. And now we can really get into the details, okay? And we're going to start doing that in the next video. So I'll talk to you later.